Today I wanted to go over what I think is Obama's destruction of the United States. Um, when he first got in office, the first thing he did was make sure to push through Obamacare. This was done without Republican support. It was all Democrats. Um, in my experience, I've heard different people have different views on whether or not it's good. Generally speaking, the ones who love Obamacare are getting something that they haven't paid for. They are living off of the hardworking taxpayer. So of course they love it. They're getting something for nothing with very little effort. Then the ones who dislike it are the ones that have seen their premiums go. I'll use my example. My premiums went from $450 to $1,000 a month. My deductibles went from $3,000 a year to $12,400 a year, which means that's what I have to pay before insurance will pay anything. I've seen my copays increase. I've seen a new category added called co-insurance. For certain categories, I may have to pay 20%. I have a child that has to have hearing aids. It's supposed to be once every 3 years. We take excellent care, so it's usually once every 5 years. But they run more, I have to set aside more than $1,000 a year to cover that. Not covered by insurance completely. This destroys the finances of hardworking families, of people who are responsible and take care of, their responsibilities. If you can't afford it, you end up without insurance, but you have to pay a tax penalty, which is detrimental to somebody's finances if they have to pay a penalty, and it's only going to go up from here. It will not decrease. We've also seen Obama double the national debt during his tenure. This is more than all the previous presidents combined. This will cause us eventually to have tax increases to service this debt. This is indebting our children, which is not fair to them. And it's all for handouts that are not necessary. Obamacare is quite expensive. We send money to other countries, some of which despise us. So I don't understand. You're not going to buy somebody's loyalty and affection. I can tell you that from personal experience. We also see Obama demoralizing, degrading, and dismantling our military. He's abandoned our longstanding allies. I know when he first came into office, he said we could not be seen to have close ties with England. I didn't understand where that was coming from. He has turned his back on Israel. He is very supportive of countries that support terrorism, which is a global issue. So he is putting the world at risk with that. The Iran nuclear deal, major problems with that. Don't even understand why that was even made, especially when it wasn't so much of a deal as we're going to give you everything you want and not ask for anything in return. He has helped destabilize the Middle East. I know it's never been very stable, but he, has helped in the destabilization of that region. One of the things he helped do was topple Gaddafi. This was done with Secretary Clinton's assistance, and from what I understand, they did not have congressional approval to do it, which is supposed to be illegal. They supported Arab Spring, which we saw shortly after that. You saw a rise of ISIS. So there's been no clear-cut plan of assistance. There's been meddling that has caused a lot of heartache, a lot of suffering. Supposedly this is the catalyst for the Syrian refugee crisis. We also saw under his watch Fast and Furious, where they used they armed drug cartels in Mexico. They claimed they were trying to track where the weapons were going, but lost track of them. We also have his race baiting and divisiveness. He started it very early in office and has stoked the flames. I don't think he's a stupid man. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think he has purposefully made sure to drive wedges in this country in order to have everybody fighting amongst themselves and not paying attention to what he's doing. He has ignored immigration laws, and we are seeing a lot of pressure on communities with illegal immigrants because trying to provide social services for people that have come here with nothing is a difficult task to do. We see him having refugees coming in. It's at great taxpayer expense. There are a lot of organizations, companies, whatever you want to call them, that are participating in this program that are making a lot of money off of it. Some of the stuff I've read is, somebody will volunteer thinking they're helping. They're donating their time for free, and the company in charge makes sure to charge the government for that person's time. So they're banking on free labor. They're making money off of that. There's also the fact that they will not encourage the refugees to be self-sufficient because that's more money they can get from the government. Take their cut off the top and give a little bit to the refugees. One of the concerns is with these refugees, you don't see many Christian refugees or hear much about them, which are the ones that are really the most persecuted in Islamic-run countries. Obama likes to denigrate the opposition by saying, well, you're just afraid of orphans and widows. And then when you see the refugees coming in, they're young men, military-age men. This is a concern, especially when ISIS has flat out said, we are sending our people in with the refugees. We know that we are not doing proper vetting of immigrants, let alone refugees that might have ISIS implants in them. We saw that in San Bernardino. The vetting there was non-existent. We should not have had 14 people murdered. Obama does like to demonize those that disagree with him or are his political rivals. He likes to use government agencies to silence anybody that disagrees with him. We saw that with the IRS scandal, which amazingly nothing has come of that. And I can tell you that I have no doubt about the misuse and abuse that the IRS has done, because I have seen it firsthand. I think we also have where Obama was raised as a Muslim, now claims to be Christian. The penalty for being an apostate, for leaving the religion of Islam, is death. And he's not talked about receiving death threats or anything of that nature. He has exalted the Islamic religion, and at every chance I've seen him denigrate the Christian religion. Now remember, I'm not a religious person, so I don't have a preference on any religion. I usually think of them all as the same. But I've come to realize that Islam is different. But the fact that I've talked with ex-Muslims, I've interacted with ex-Muslims. They don't have such kind words for a religion that they've left. They usually left it because of the barbarism that's in the religion, of the cruelty. And some of them either become atheists or they become Christians because they don't want to live their life that way. There is something in Islamic texts teachings called taqiyya, which is to lie about the religion. We keep hearing how peaceful it is, but then again in the news you keep hearing things about how, about terrorist attacks or beheadings or the mistreatment of women or the child brides, the killing of gays. You hear all that, and that tells you that it's not very peaceful. You also have Marana, where you can not live under Sharia law while you're trying to advance the cause of Islam. And my fear is that this is exactly what he is doing. In talking with people around the world, or talking with people who, or studying stuff from people that have lived under Islamic rule and have come here, they are afraid that we will become a Sharia-run country, that we will become an Islamic country. Because they came here to escape it. They are afraid that we may not see the next election. And I know that sounds incredible. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that. But with what we're seeing, the agitation from liberals and Democrats, I know that there have been a lot of violence at Trump rallies, but you have to step back and take a look at who's doing it. I wasn't really, Trump was not the candidate I wanted. I really wanted Cruz. So I'm a little bit disappointed today, but I do have to step back and take a look, objectively. And I don't care what you believe Trump has said. A lot of times it's been twisted in the media. So that's been unfair. I don't care even if he did say some of the stuff that's attributed to him. Everybody's in control of their own actions. To sit there and say, well, Trump spouted some, words that were inflammatory, and that's why everybody's getting violent now, showing up to violently protest. Well, to me, Hillary Clinton has said some pretty inflammatory stuff. But I am not going to go to one of her rallies with a group of people and start a violent protest. And I think that the stuff that Hillary Clinton has done and said has been far worse than anything you can attribute to Trump. Just the fact that 4 people died in Benghazi on her watch, and she lied to the American public. She lied to the families about it being a video that upset the Islamic people. Now, she found that to be effective. So now the Democrats are agitating and stirring people up from their side, sending them over to Republican conventions or rallies to stir up trouble. So I can see why people are fearful that Obama will create enough unrest through himself, his administration, and through his fellow Democrats and liberals, that he may declare martial law and stay in office. This may all, people might say, oh, well, that's paranoid or that's bigoted or what have you. But unfortunately for me, I've met evil people. I know what they are capable of. And I, in my heart, really believe that Obama is evil. I don't have another word for it. He is destroying this country. He is ignoring our Constitution. And he's having a lot of help. And all it takes is money to buy people to do some really horrible things. So, I don't know where we go from here, but I think it's very important to listen to ex-Muslims or people who lived under Sharia law. They will tell you truthfully what they believe. Um, I've also talked with Muslims, and I have to tell you, it doesn't take very much to get to the truth. You have to be willing to talk about things that people aren't willing to talk about. For example, I talked with one about 9-year-old child brides. And the answer I got was basically that girls in Islamic countries uh, mature faster than 9-year-olds anywhere else in the world. So that's why it's acceptable. And I'm like, well, uh, yeah, I'm not completely stupid, so I'm not buying that. But let's, for the sake of argument, say that's true. Mentally, do you really think a 9-year-old is prepared for marriage with a man 50, 60 years old? So, I know there's a lot of abuses go on, but my biggest thing is when somebody abuses children. It's hard for me to take. So, on just that alone, I have to say you cannot accept anything under Islam. Thank you.